Hi, hello everyone. A very good morning to all of you. Good afternoon and good evening as well, depending on which part of the world you're joining us. Welcome to today's webinar on the topic, how to build modern data architectures for your analytics and AI consumption. So today's presenter, we have with us Alberto Marco Bejon. He's the Director of Data and Analytics at Liberty Seguros, based out of Spain. Joining him is Vishwa Belur. He's a Senior Director of Product Management at Informatica, and he leads the product management for some of our critical data integration product portfolio, like Cloud Mass Ingestions and Cloud Connectivity. And my name is Preetham Kumar. I'm a Director of Product Marketing for Data Integration, and I'm responsible for the overall go-to-market for the data integration product portfolio at Informatica. So we have a very packed agenda today for all of you for the next 1 hour. We'll try to make sure that we finish this agenda in the 15 minutes and then keep 10 minutes for questions and answers. In case if you're not able to answer your questions, we will follow up with you. You can put your questions in the chat window, and we will, if you're not able to answer them at the end, we will reply by email. So let me go through the agenda which we want to cover today and the overall topics. So I'm going to start off with the data integration market trends, what is happening in the overall data integration space, and how is Informatica is innovating in its product, in the data integration product line, and what is the overall vision, where we want, what are the innovations we have done this year. We have made some exciting announcement in Informatica World. And then because we want to cover all the aspects of modern data architecture, but it's practically not possible to do it in one single call in 1 hour. So in this webinar, we are going to focus on the data replication and ELT solution from Informatica and how it helps and enhances your analytics and AI consumption, which will be covered by Vishwa. And then he'll pass it on to Alberto, who is going to cover his replication use case how they at Liberty Seguros are replicating data from variety of different sources into Snowflake for driving analytics and AI in their organization. And after Alberto's presentation, Vishwa will deep dive into some of the critical features of Cloud Mass Ingestion, which is Informatica's data ingestion and replication solution. What are the key features? And then, of course, we all want to see how it happens in action. He's going to show you a demo. And then at the end, we will summarize and make it open for Q&A. Okay, so without wasting any more time, I just want to get started. Okay. So if you look at this slide, I mean, if some of you have attended Informatica World in person in May last month, or if you have attended virtually, I think one of the key themes that came out from Informatica World from our CEO Amit Walia's and our CPO Jitesh Guy's presentation is, most of the organizations we speak to or who participated in that event, they did speak about their overall journey on how they are going into the digital transformation journey and how important a solid data foundation is. And when we talk to our customers, we found that, okay, it's actually digital transformation is an overall ladder, okay, wherein they start with their descriptive and diagnostic analytics, doing BI stuffs and all to understand what and why. And then with the data maturity, with the different kind of data sets, unstructured data, real-time data, data coming from multiple different applications, streaming sources, databases and all. Okay. They start to do predictive analytics, wherein they want to know what will happen and how it will happen. And eventually, with more and more data maturity, with strong data engineering and data maturity, data foundation, they get into prescriptive analytics, where how do you respond to some of the business critical events that are happening, whether in the customer care, if they want to prevent any customer from churning, or in a manufacturing industry, wherein they want to help customers move from a time-based maintenance to a schedule-based maintenance. But eventually, the ultimate goal for all of these customers, when we discuss with them, is to become an autonomous organization, wherein they want to infuse intelligence and automation. So we actually introduced CLAIRE GPT at Informatica World, and that is actually our next step goal, okay, wherein we will be helping our customers using CLAIRE GPT, which is a generative AI functionality, to build data pipeline. Okay? And they just need to talk about source and targets, okay, which will help them to understand how to understand and act on it proactively. But then the major challenge, as I was mentioning about, is a data foundation. There are so many applications and enterprises uses, whether it's ERP, SaaS, IoT, or CRM. There are multiple data formats like structured data, unstructured data, batch data, streaming data, which are siloed across the organization. And then with data democratization, you see a lot of people are accessing this data. Now data is not only limited to the IT audiences only. Even the data architects, a data business user, like for a marketing cloud CMO, for example, or a sales chief revenue officer, he or she can access data to evaluate, okay, how the company, how the sales numbers are, how is the pipeline stuff and all. So, but since the silos are happening across application data and people, this is creating friction for organization to achieve their eventual goal of becoming an autonomous organization and drive some mission critical applications. And as a result, there is this evolution of modern data architecture like data fabric, data mesh, and lakehouse. I don't want to go deep into data fabric and mesh and all this architecture, but what I want to say is that people are experimenting. A lot of our customers are experimenting. Even analysts like Gartner, Forrester, they are terming that, okay, some people are centralizing this data with a metadata foundation. They are building the data fabric. And some customers are using data mesh, which is giving power to the equal departments and all in a governed manner. And then, of course, lakehouse, as we all hear the term pretty often, which is bringing the best of both the data warehouse and data lake together for customers to drive their mission-critical next-gen use cases. But then data integration is the foundation. If you don't have a strong data integration, you will not be able to drive any of these modern data architecture out here. And as you can rightly see in this deck, some of the leading analysts like IDC, Forrester, and even Forbes are talking about how integration is critical for driving digital transformation, how integration is critical for driving automation, like you want to connect to various sources and targets. And then, of course, main important thing is delivering user experiences in the businesses with digital business capabilities and all. Data integration is the foundation for all of this. And that's the reason, as you can rightly see, the overall market for data integration is growing at 30% CAGR, and it's going to touch $14 billion by 2026. But then data integration also comes with its own set of challenges. As an organization, people try to experiment, okay, with homegrown solutions, do it yourself, hand coding, try using point solutions like you have one solution for ingestion, one for integration, one for governance, cataloging, quality. Now that creates a lot of complexity. And obviously, eventually, it will also add cost to it because you are using different vendors and all. And the most important thing, as you can see, is the skills shortage. If, for example, a developer or a data engineer who is currently working on one tool and he leaves, it becomes a major challenge to find a replacement, which eventually costs the company as well. And that's the reason why it's very important to have an end-to-end data management or data integration solution, which can help you do from end-to-end management, whether it's ingestion, integration, cataloging, quality, or even prep and other stuff and all, rather than going with multiple providers. And that's the reason when Informatica, we recommend our customers, okay, wherein you should look for a solution which is cloud native, wherein you can infuse intelligence and automation in your data integration solution, and it can support any kind of data. It can provide access to any user and any pattern in a governed way, not only limiting to IT as I was telling earlier, but also to the line of business. It should be highly efficient because you want intelligence and automation to be embedded into your integration solution. And of course, most importantly, it needs to be cost effective with higher ROI. You need to have a complete visibility, wherein technologies like observability and all will help you find, okay, what is happening in terms of pricing and or detect anomalies and all, and also providing a proper cost governance to that piece. So keeping all that in mind, Informatica provides an easy, efficient, and cost-effective data integration for all business users that breaks the silos between data, people, and applications, and which will help business achieve their autonomous decision-making, which I was showing in the first chart about being autonomous. And as you can see in this chicklets out here, some of the key capabilities which we have, apart from our core data integration, which we have introduced, like advanced data integration, that's our FinOps-powered data integration capabilities. We have advanced push-down optimization. We have InfraCore, which is addressing the hand-coding data engineering personas who can use their own tools to build their data pipeline and then use InfraCore to access some of the IDMC or the Informatica data management cloud functionality out here. And so on. Okay, we have models for MLOps and other functionalities. And we are trying to make it easy with our CLAIRE, which is our AI-powered metadata engine. CLAIRE drives 18 trillion transactions for our platform every month. And it has 18 petabytes of data every month with 54 trillion transactions, actually. And it's growing significantly. So it's a metadata of metadata with 50,000 connectors that can help you connect to multiple systems of records out there. With an easy-to-use IPU-based solution, which is wherein you can measure the cost and all this stuff. So today in this webinar, we are going to focus on our mass ingestion, which is our data replication and ingestion solution. Vishwa, I'll hand it over to Vishwa, who is going to take you through the next set of slides in introducing our overall solutions to you. And then, of course, with the demo and followed up with Alberto's case study as well. So, Vishwa, over to you.
Thanks, Pritam. Just making sure that people can hear me. Please confirm.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So thanks, Pritam, for the nice introduction on IDMC and its capabilities and also how it solves the end-to-end data management use cases of customers, right? So let me take a kind of next double click on the details, right? Like Pritam was saying. So if you look at the reference architecture for cloud data warehouse and data lakes, right? There are 4 or 5 key components, which is essentially you have your data in variety of your data sources that you need to understand first, right? So what I mean by understand is you need to know where your data sources are. If you are making the journey getting into the journey into the cloud, right? First thing is to discover and understand and where the data is currently being used and all that, right? So that's really the data catalog and data governance solution that we offer, and also it's CLAIRE driven, like Pritam was saying, right? So once you identify your sources of information that you need to get into your cloud, then the step would be to ingest and replicate your data, right? So the data could be in on-premises systems like your mainframes or files or application servers or in your data warehouses or even relational databases, right? Or streaming sources like IoT or Kafka or applications or SaaS sources. I mean, the applications which are in the cloud, like ERPs, CRMs, and many other applications. So the first step would be to get the data, right? So what are the typical target systems that are destinations that the users or customers usually get the information onto, right? So the first step is first use case that we see is the replication, right? From the on-premises databases into or data warehouses into the cloud data warehouse like Snowflake or Azure Synapse or Databricks, etc. Right? So that's the first thing, right? And then we will get into the details of each of them. But the other use case is getting the data into a data lake so that you can apply downstream transformation, right? Or from the applications into the data lake as well, or data into a stream storage like Kafka or Azure Event Hub, so that you can feed that into your real-time analytics use cases, right? So that's really the second key step in this. And once you have data in your data lake for the medallion architecture, as we call it, right? So landing zone to enrichment to enterprise zone, you apply your data integration and quality techniques to make sure that data is ready for analytics, right? And feed that into the data warehouse, right? And the other aspect of data integration is, like Pritam was saying, is the push down, or what we call as ELT, right? Extract, load, and transform, which is the ability to use the data warehouse as the compute engine for performing your data integration techniques, right? Whether it is complex or whether it could be simple filters or could be complex transformations, you would use the power of data warehouse for doing that, right? And then, or even provision the data for your data science and AI use cases. So if you see the use cases that are that kind of feed on from the either data warehouse or a data lake, for some of the use cases are data science, real-time analytics, enterprise analytics, or line of business, right? And it addresses the various personas that Pritam was saying. I mean, it is not just the data engineer or the data scientist, but we also, the data is ready for analytics by business users or line of business audience. So that gives you a view of how Informatica approaches the data warehouse, data lake reference architecture. So let me dive into the details of some of these capabilities, right? So as Pritam said, today we are focusing on data ingestion and replication. We plan to do a series followed by this to cover some of the other data integration capabilities, including the ELT capabilities that we have as part of our platform, right? So today we are going to focus on data ingestion and replication. So as Pritam was saying, the solution that addresses the ingestion and replication use case from Informatica is called Cloud Mass Ingestion, right? So what is Cloud Mass Ingestion? It's a unified experience for ingestion and replication. It provides a step-by-step wizard approach for designing and creating an ingestion and replication task, so that you don't have to worry about creating multiple thousands of mappings, because you will usually have thousands of tables on your relational database that you need to bring into a data warehouse. You can't really build a mapping for each of them, right? And that it offers the deployment, scheduling, and real-time monitoring capability, so that you can see what's really happening in the system right now, right? And deploy the jobs, and also lifecycle management, which is one of the other key elements, where given that these jobs, once they start, they will run forever, right? So the ability to either pause, resume, and stop and restart, those capabilities are also needed. So that's what that is how mass ingestion addresses those use cases. And then, last but not the least, is versatile out-of-the-box connectivity, right? So whether it is through databases and series sources, or streaming sources like Kafka or IoT, or files and applications, whether it is on-premises or in the cloud, right, SaaS applications. So it provides out-of-the-box connectivity to all these sources, and also, of course, the target systems as well. Right? So what are the use case patterns? So I introduced the solution, but there are three major use case patterns that we see with mass ingestion, right? So batch analytics. So for example, either model training or analytics or reporting and self-service data science, etc. Right? So those are some of the use cases that are solved by the batch analytics, which is you get the data from the source, whether it is files into your Snowflake, or from your database bulk load into your Azure Synapse, so that you can do downstream analytics, right? Data replication, that's the key use case, right? So which is going to be one of the most focused areas for the conversation today, where you use the data as a reference data set or so legacy data sets as an example for your driving your modernization and also next generation operational applications, right? So that will help you to drive more top line with the experience that you can offer using replicated data, right? So here the focus would be to ensure that the source and target systems are in sync with the ability to not just the bulk load followed by trickle thread CDC, change data capture, and then applying them so that you can keep source and target system in sync. The third is the real-time analytics. So here, especially the use cases related to messaging systems like Kafka, etc., right? So where there is use cases around automated low latency decisioning, so which means that as soon as the customer calls into the call center, so what actions that the user of the call center executive needs to take, right? So those are some of the actions. Or AI ML adoption, which is essentially, run a fraud detection algorithm on the data that's coming in from a transactional data, right? So or even modern operationalization, like I was talking about. So here the focus would be to get the data into the hands of the applications which are consuming it in real time, right? So not just the raw data, but also the massage data, right? So that customers can or your users can make use of this data in their applications without having to wait for the batch, right? So that's really how we see the use case patterns addressed by mass ingestion. And if you see, many of our customers replace hand coding with our ingestion solutions to implement some of these downstream, address some of the use cases for downstream consumers. So those are three major use case patterns that we address as part of mass ingestion. So I'm sure there's a question lingering on your mind in terms of what do we support as a source in mass ingestion, source and target in mass ingestion, right? Like mass ingestion covers 4 patterns: applications, databases, streaming, and files. I'm not going to read each of them, but if you look at most of the popular applications, all databases including mainframes, streaming sources, and IoT sources and files are supported as part of the mass ingestion source. And most of or all of the data lakes and data warehouses, cloud data lakes and data warehouses, as well as some of the on-prem databases like Oracle and SQL Server, and messaging systems like Kafka and Event Hub is also supported by mass ingestion. So now what I'll do is I will hand it over to So yeah, let me quickly cover on this one, which is once you extract and load the data from your sources, you can apply ELT, right? Like I said, this is going to be another topic for us in the next conversation, because all you can use the power of your data warehouse to do the compute here, right? So this is an emerging pattern right now with customers extracting and loading data into a data warehouse or a data lake, and then using the ELT mechanism for the transformation, so that you can feed the real-time analytics use cases as a part of the data management use case, right? So this is how the power of Informatica platform addresses not just one solution, which is replicating data, but also applying downstream transformations on the data, on the replicated data, so that you can make it available for your downstream analytics use cases. All right. So I will hand it over to Alberto now, who is patiently waiting for his turn, so that he can talk about his use case and the company in general, and specifically about his use case. Alberto, please take it away.
Thank you very much. So it's Alberto Marco. I'm the director of data and analytics at European level for Liberty Insurance. Liberty Seguros is an insurance company, as I said. We are operating in 4 countries: Europe, Spain, Ireland, Portugal, and UK. We are operating as one single operation. This means that we are one single team is in charge of everything, in charge of the 4 countries. We have a multi-country model with a multi-operating model. We are also in charge of different brands. We are selling insurance under Liberty brand, under Genesis, Regal. In each country, we have even one dedicated brand for the target audience. And our business is multi-risks. This means that our line of business mainly is motor, home, life, but also we have diverse. So we are selling policy about pets, golf, commercial companies, whatever. And also we are quite special because we are distributing our products using different channels. Almost all of them. We have direct channel, which is the channel that the customer contact you directly, or you can contact the customer. We have also the aggregators. Aggregators are the companies that are collecting the information for customers and creating a quote in real time to you and to the rest of the insurance. This is huge volume of quotes. We are speaking about thousands of quotes even in a minute, and this is also a sort that we are moving thanks to machine ingestion. We have also banking. It's quite common that in the insurance sector you have partners and banking. So we have a couple of deals with banks, and we are distributing our products across the bankings in a joint venture or different models, and also partners. So we have different partners like Mercedes in Portugal, where we are selling the insurance. And one of the most important channels that we have are the intermediaries and brokers, which is one of our workforce that we have, and in a partnership with them also, we are distributing everything. We have a couple of principles, and one of them is to make simple things. So let's go to remove the complexity from everything that we are doing in our day-to-day, creating and making a better day for our customers and also for our employees. So for that reason, essentially, the challenge that we have is how can we be faster, better, and cheaper. Sounds very, very amazing and very challenging. But at the end, to be faster means that we have to deliver value much faster. We need to reduce the time to develop. We need to reduce the time of the projects. I would like to share with you some KPIs. Thanks to this technology, we have reduced 80% the time to value. That means that if a project is running during 10 months, now we can do the project in 2 months. That's a reduction of 80% of our time. To be better is simple. How can we control all the ingestion? How can you control all the replication in one single console? Having one single console is not a piece of cake, because you can improve your operation and you can have better costs. So while you are scaling, you can control your costs, because essentially you don't need to have a huge team. Just with few people, you can deliver and you can operate. Just to give you another kind of KPIs, we started one project. Right now, we can start and finish one replication project in 1 month. And the team is 2 people. And 2 people because if one is taking a day off, or is being in holidays, or even he's on sick. In 1 month, that means that we are creating the replication in dev, UAT, and live, and also we are putting the proper room books and operation and everything. We spend more time doing the bureaucratics, the documentation, and everything than building the project from the beginning to the end in one shot. And for us, that was our one of the biggest problems that we have, is how can we reduce our time to value? How can we reduce our time to operate? Because thanks to this technology, we can be much efficiency from operating point of view. With a single team, we can control all the ingestions. We are complex. We are not easy, because taking a look at our architecture, we have different sources. We have Salesforce. We have Kinesis. We in streaming. We have a couple of core systems. We have DynamoDB for the ranking engine. We have, of course, like everyone, DB2 for the core systems, Oracle, SQL servers, Postgres. We have almost everything. Why? Because, as I said, distributing all the products in different countries, 3 channels, and also working in different lines of business, this is what it is. We have a lot of source systems. So essentially, what our architecture is quite simple. We have simplified absolutely everything. We have reduced by 50% our cost to serve, our operating cost on the ingestion layer, thanks to mass ingestion. We have decreased 80% the cost or the effort. It's better to say the effort to bring value before to the business. And we are controlling absolutely everything. Our data warehouse is Snowflake, and we are ingesting everything in Snowflake. In each source, we are moving to the CDC pattern, we are moving to mirroring pattern, wherever. And then in Snowflake, we are working on creating our pipelines in order to deliver the data in the right model, in the right format for our business. Could be one data analyst, could be one data science, a BA developer to create a report, wherever, and everything with a proper governance. Our source systems are systems that are in continuous change. So every single chain, every single new field that we are adding in our source systems, we didn't need to do absolutely anything. The new field is totally replicated to a Snowflake without any kind of human intervention. Our ambition is to have operation without human interventions. And we are very, 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 very close to this thanks to mass ingestion. And this is the usage that we are doing right now in this product. We are reducing hugely the complexity of our business. We are simplifying the operation of an IT, and we are improving a lot the time to value and reducing the efforts for any kind of project that needs to bring data to our data warehouse. This is the main usage that we are doing. This is in life, and we are moving a lot of data. We are speaking about hundreds of millions moving in a continuous way every single day. And that's all from my side. Happy to resolve later questions. Okay, I transfer the presentation to my colleagues at Informatica. And well, why Informatica? That was I said. It's easy to use. It's quite efficiency, and we are saving a lot of time and cost. So literally, I'm speaking that we are buying time in this with this product.
All right. Thanks, Alberto. That was really great to see. How much you have been able to save with using mass ingestion, right? That's enormous cost advantage that you've gotten with mass ingestion, and also the time that's saved, right? So
literally, we have done the work of 1 year in 1 month. Literally.
That is fantastic to hear. Yeah, I'm sure other customers would also get inspired from that. Thanks a lot. Let's move forward now with the agenda for the day, which is replication, right? So what is for many of you on the call, if you are doing replication, you're already aware of this process, but essentially it's a data synchronization between source and target, right? So when I say source, it could be Oracle, or it could be your mainframe systems, or target could be your data warehouse, any data warehouse. So the first step is bulk movement of the data. So you have thousands of tables on your source, which you need to move them into a cloud data warehouse, right? So that is really the first step of bulk ingestion, right? And while the bulk ingestion is happening, you need to ensure that not all the databases support what we call a snapshot, right? So you will have to. There are some databases like Oracle support snapshotting, but there are many like SQL Server, Postgres, etc., which don't support snapshotting, which means that you'll have to incrementally keep the changes and apply them into the target, right? So that's while the bulk load is happening. And once the step 2 is complete, it is essentially continuously taking source changes and apply them into the target. So that's really how the end-to-end data synchronization use case is addressed by any solution, right? So if you look at the overview of change data capture, right? So what is change data capture? It's a process of capturing changes that happen on the source system as and when they happen, so that you can just pass on the change to the consumers. The consumers could be your data lake or data warehouse or a downstream process which is doing some processing on the change data, right? So there are various methods of capturing changes, timestamp based, so which is essentially capturing changes using a timestamp column that exists in your database table. The pros of that is it's very simple and easy to use, right, to capture the changes. However, the database table need to have a timestamp column. It will, given that it works on query method, it will have an impact on your database, and it doesn't include all the changes. For example, delete, you won't be able to capture delete, right? And then there are other performance challenges related to it as well. Of course, that's one of the methods that mass ingestion supports, but it comes with all these riders. And trigger. Some of the databases support only trigger-based CDC. The example of this is SAP HANA, right? So where database trigger is which is essentially a stored procedure which is run to capture changes, right? The pro of this is the trigger is activated as soon as the table is modified, or any DML operations happen on the table. Or cons is that it pauses the database update until the functionality of the trigger has been completed. So that puts some kind of load on your maintenance as well, in terms of the maintenance window and all that, right? So log-based CDC, by far the best the way to capture changes. It extracts changes from the database log file, which is most efficient method, as I said. It's a non-intrusive method to capture changes. It has very less and insignificant load on the DB server because it goes to the underlying DB, underlying database log, and also scales very well for larger volumes, right? However, it requires access to database logs, so as you would expect, right? So from a mass ingestion perspective, we support all the three depending on the source types, but the recommended method that we have is the log-based CDC, which is supported for most of the sources. I'm sorry about it. All right, so let's now talk about the components of mass ingestion, right? So the first is database mass ingestion, which is, based on the type of source, we have the components where you have mainframes, databases, app servers, data warehouses, etc., that you are replicating to your data lakes or data warehouses, or even capturing changes and loading them into messaging systems like Kafka, right? So it provides note that all the patterns of mass ingestion support this wizard-based experience. Like Alberto was saying, it provides a unified view, right? And they all provide the ability to real-time monitor the changes that happen. For example, if you have hundreds of inserts in a table, you can actually see the number of inserts in inserts, updates, and deletes, right? Those are some of the capabilities that database mass ingestion offers, right? So some of the key features of database mass ingestion is it supports initial, which is bulk load, CDC load, and combined. Now, when I say combined, it's basically it first does the initial, followed by switches over to the incremental or CDC, right? Soft delete, I'll cover this in detail. Soft delete is something where something happens in the database source, which you don't want to, the users don't want to propagate that delete into the target, which is marked as deleted in the target table, right? And then, we support NoSQL sources like MongoDB, object-level resync support for log columns. Large objects are some of the the key use cases that we are seeing with customers, especially when they are moving over from their on-prem sources into the cloud. And data preview, where you configure your replication job, browse-based object selection, right, and many other capabilities it actually provides. Mass ingestion applications is essentially the application sources, whether it is on-premises applications and SaaS applications like we support Salesforce, ECC, S/4HANA, NetSuite, ServiceNow, and many others, right? So, I mean, as I showed in the what is supported, you will see the list of sources that is supported. And it also follows the same format. It supports the same type of target system so that, it helps you to ingest and replicate changes from these SaaS apps using mass ingestion. And the other two patterns are, one is streaming and the other is file, right? Streaming is, it's little different from databases and applications because here there's no concept of bulk load, right? So the data is actually ingested as and when happens in the source system, right? For example, machine data or web logs, like clickstream, social media data, right? Messaging systems like Kafka, right? That you're ingesting into your real-time analytics use cases or under consumption, right? So it also supports various, messaging systems like Kafka, Kinesis, Confluent Kafka, Google PubSub, and Azure Event Hub, and all that. It supports data lakes and messaging systems on the target side. That's on the streaming use case. And last but not the least, it's files. So you have this is very popular among customers who are migrating from or moving data from their partner files into the cloud. It provides a very efficient file transfer technology, right, from on-prem into the cloud. It offers a lot of the capabilities as a part of the ingestion process, right? So you can do a virus scan, you can do the capability to compress and decompress. You can apply encryption and decryption, etc., as a part of the ingestion process as well. And these are, I know Alberto spoke about his example on how mass ingestion has helped them immensely to reduce the time that's needed to ingest and replicate data, right? But here are some of the other examples. KLA 10 Core is one of our customers who migrated 12 years worth of data in 1 weekend, right? So a similar use case as Alberto was saying, you have SAP systems, Oracle and CDC that they are capturing and loading into data warehouse, and then applying ELT for downstream transformation, right? And the other is University of New Orleans. It helped mass ingestion helped them to increase student enrollment and improve retention, so that they talk about they reduce manual effort by 90%, right? So that they can put their data engineers to focus on analytics for improving student recruitment, admission, etc. And here is our one of the biggest customers in Canada, retail customers in Canada who are leveraging Informatica for building big data and AI ecosystem use case, right? So there are sources that are coming into IDMC, and they are applying a lot of these transformations, so like the medallion architecture, and also have the data analytics use cases using ML and AI using MLflow, right? So those are some of the use cases or customer examples where mass ingestion helped them immensely in terms of their ingestion and replication. Now I quickly switch to the demo so that I can show you the capabilities that the platform offers, and then I'll quickly summarize. Right. So let me just share my screen. Share my other screen. Right. these are coming up. Just give me a second. Can you guys see my screen? Pritam, can you confirm they're able to see? You're able to see? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
we can see it now.
So here is our IDMC console. So I am actually logging into the IDMC console using my username and password. Right. When I log in, I see various checklist like Pritam was saying before. I click on mass ingestion. I click on mass ingestion, which is where the replication offering is enabled. Right. So I go to my mass ingestion console. Here is my mass ingestion console. When I click on new, I see these 4 patterns that I described, right? Like applications, databases, files, and streaming sources, right? So, and I will click on cancel, and then, I already created a task that I'm going to just run it or show it to you, right? So I click on this Oracle to Snowflake combined job that I have already created, which will replicate data from Oracle into Snowflake, right? So here is the secure agent or the runtime environment on which the job runs. Note that with Informatica, your data doesn't come to our cloud, right? So we only do the metadata and orchestration in our cloud, and all the data actually moves between your source into your target system using the runtime environment or the secure agent, right? So I create, this is the secure agent on which the job runs. I choose Oracle to Snowflake application as my description, right? If I click on the load type, this is what I was saying, initial, incremental, and incremental. Since I want a pure play replication, I'm actually choosing initial and incremental, right? So if I go to next, which is to Oracle, right? So this is my Oracle source. I click on, there are various connections that you can choose for Oracle here, and these are the schemas that are available in my Oracle system. I chose this AES-QA one, and these are the table selection methods, right? So you can select all by clicking on this, or you can choose a rules-based selection to choose a rule, right? Or choose a list of tables. So I've already created this, condition for selection of the table. So I'll just do the selection. But you also note that we have column actions as well, which will help you to like trim the column and so on and so forth. But I will preview the selection, right? So I see that it has only one, but it could be multiple, right? So we also have the ability to view the columns, right? So you can view the columns that exist in the table with the data type of these columns, and we provide the ability to enable CVC on the source. For example, note that not all the systems come with the supplemental logging enabled, so you can actually download the script here for the selected tables and execute them directly on the database as well. Or you can download the script and then give it to your data DBA, who can go and execute that. Right? So and there are some things about latest available restart point for incremental load, which means that once the initial load is over, when where the resumptions should happen, etc. So that's all captured here, right? And then I go to the target, right? So here is my Snowflake target, and I have created create target option, which means that the tables are created automatically, right? So you don't need to create tables. And these are the apply modes that I mentioned earlier. Like standard is basically pure play replication, right? Soft delete is when something gets deleted at the source, we will not be applying those delete at the target. We will just be capturing that as deleted, right? Audit is pure play ingestion of the changes into the target table, right? So I choose standard here, and I also created a rule for renaming the table, right? From any table this into SF_star, right? And then note that we also have the capability to change the data type. So there is a data type default data type mapping between the source and target. That's available. If you want to change anything here, you can actually do that as a part of the ingestion process. So finally, last but not the least, is the schedule and runtime options. Here is where you can choose to do in case of schema drift or something happens that there is a new column gets added or dropped at the source. How would you want to handle it? So we have 4 options. The default option is to replicate, but you can also ignore the change or stop the job or stop the table, right? So that's stop for this particular table alone where the schema drift has happened, right? So those are some of the capabilities that you can do. And finally, I can save this job and deploy this, right? So once I deploy this, it is doing all the background preparation, and I can go to the My Jobs section and look at this deployed job and run it, right? So I'm going to run this now. And it is now started. It's up and running, right? So I can click on the job, and this is the real-time monitoring that I was speaking about, right? So you have the ability to see the job, right? So it's up and running. If you go to the object details, right? So I have created one table, and that's actually running right now. We also have detailed view of how many inserts, etc., that happen into the target table as well by clicking on this. So that is pretty much the demo that I wanted to show. This provides, so in essence, I showed how you can ingest data from thousands of Oracle tables into Snowflake using the simple experience of mass ingestion, and also monitor that in real time. Right. So let me go back to the slides and quickly summarize. Sorry. Okay. Pritam, can you confirm that you are seeing the slides?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay. So in summary, mass ingestion provides the cloud-native ingestion capabilities with out-of-the-box connectivity to databases, CDC, streaming files, and application sources. It provides a wizard-driven experience, right? So as I showed you, it is a simple 4-step wizard approach for solving the ingestion use cases, and then real-time monitoring, which provides a pictorial view and real-time flow visualization, and also lifecycle management. So we have a free 30-day trial of Cloud Mass Ingestion service. These slides will be made available. Will be allowed to be downloaded once the session is over. So you can, click on this link and register for the trial and make use of the 30-day free trial period. And these are some of the materials or artifacts around mass ingestion, including analyst reports where Dresner has ranked Informatica as #1 data engineering vendor, and ROI guidebook, and also white papers around ingestion and replication, right? So that is pretty much what we wanted to talk about today. Here is my email address. If you have any specific questions around mass ingestion or replication capabilities, feel free to shoot an email to me, and I'll be happy to answer. All right, that's pretty much what we had. So probably we'll take up some questions. I know Pritam and Jennifer and others have been answering the questions on the panel. So Pritam, any outstanding questions that we can cover here?
Yeah, we have many questions, and thanks. There are a lot of questions for Alberto. Actually, he did reply to the answers, but I think in the interest of everyone, other folks as well, I think Alberto, if it's okay, how can you help answer on the phone about this question about how many people are supporting your environment and what kind of skills. This is from Purnima Hegde. So Alberto, if you can help.
Few people. It's a small squad. This is a team that is managing the full platform of Informatica, not only mass ingestion. Is managing the full platform because we are using other modules, not only mass ingestion, and it's 5 people for all the countries, all the business, and 7,000 of jobs.
Sure, thanks. And just last question for you. I know it's pretty late, so can you tell us why you chose Snowflake with Informatica? And yeah, I think you answered it very nicely, but
yeah,
sure.
Sure.
If you can just.
Sure. Well, the election of Snowflake is because, from our opinion, is the best cloud data warehouse, and also is aligning with our home office. And the second thing is why Informatica is as an ETL, because we can do the push down to Snowflake. From the ETL perspective, we have capabilities to make purely a native push down directly to Snowflake. ELT stuff of ETL, as you explained it before.
Awesome. Thanks, Alberto.
It is not just the extract and load, but also the transform, which is important as part of the data management process. Thanks, Alberto, for highlighting that first.
And I think the continuous question was, can Informatica work with Azure Data Lake? So yes, it can work. I think, Vishwa, if you want to add on something to that.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, there are when you say Azure Data Lake, it works with ADLS, right? So which means that you can ingest data from any of these sources, whether it is from files or databases or streaming sources or applications into ADLS. And apply any downstream transformations that you would need from there, using our push-down capabilities as well, or the ELT capabilities as well, or even our Spark-based, FinOps-based data integration solution that we have.
Yeah, I think we still have 3 minutes, so we can take a few more questions. I know there's a lot of questions coming in. We'll answer the questions which are unanswered later on by email. So there's another question from Bijo James is how Informatica handles the insert update on a database, for example, in Redshift, actually.
So if you look at our architecture, right, so which is published in our documentation, right, so basically we take the approach of the temporary file, right, so we capture changes from the source system, right, and then we have the capture process running as part of our secure agent, and then capturing the data, and then loading that into a temporary or landing zone within the target first, and then do the merge apply, right? So we can, as you saw during the demonstration, the last step is there is in the runtime and configuration options, right? So there is this number of rows in file, right? So basically, we can control how often we load data into the cloud by using that flag, right? So using that number, so that not every time there is a change, we kind of load the data into the target, right? Of course, there are low latency flushes and those things which exist in place. But in case of high volume data that's coming in through CDC channel, we can buffer them up and then push it into the target and then do merge apply, right? So that's something that we could do.
Sure. Yeah, I think we still have 1 minute. There's another question on, do we need Kafka in order to move from Oracle to Snowflake? Vishwa, do you want to take it up with this question?
No, I mean, there is no need for any intermediate storage, right? So whether it is Kafka or in fact, we have in the secure agent we host the data only for transient purposes. We don't even if a secure agent goes down and comes back up, we can all our checkpoints are in the target system so that we know exactly where the job is failed and resume from that checkpoint, right? So no intermediate persistence is needed, whether it's Kafka or anything.
Thank you, Vishwa. And I think, Vishwa, you have already shown the sources that is supported. So there was one question on what are the sources which supports CDC, log-based CDC in CMI.
all the sources that we have, like Oracle SQL Server, Postgre, MySQL, and DB2s, right? Whether it is I series or Z series, they all support log-based SQL, right? Of course, there are some databases for which we have started to support timestamp-based capture, which is the Oracle and SQL Server. But our predominant chain data capture solution is log-based CDC, and that's what we support for the sources that we support, except for SAP HANA, which we are working on right now for the log-based replication.
Thank you, Vishwa. So I think we are on top of the hour. There are a few more unanswered questions, but we can reply to them after the webinar by email. So thank you very much for your time, Alberto, and sharing your story. There are a few questions that are being asked to you as well, so I'll send it over to you after the webinar is over. And thanks everyone for joining this. It was really nice interacting with all of you. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions about mass ingestion or any other Informatica products in the data integration space. Okay. Happy to connect.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Alberto, and thanks everyone for joining in this morning afternoon. Bye.